The nation's number 2 ranked linebacker, Jonah Williams, has locked in a visit to Oregon next month. He's a top 15 player overall, but is he a duck lean? And also, is Oregon fading for a top wide receiver target out of Texas? We got Justin Hopkins on the show today to talk some Oregon recruiting. But first, Duck fans, hit that subscribe button for me. We're talking Oregon Duck recruiting all offseason long, and we need you to be a part of it. So hit subscribe for me, please. All right. Bring on Duck insider Justin Hopkins, and we're going to start with 5-star linebacker Jonah Williams. Locked in that return visit to Eugene. He'll be there March 17th. So, Justin, who is the Ducks' biggest competition here? And do you think this will be the last visit Williams takes to Oregon before a decision?
Yeah, it feels to me like Williams is taking the process very slowly and very methodically. So, in terms of like who the team to beat is, I almost don't know at this point. He seems to have done a good job keeping things under wraps. I think Oregon's done a great job getting him on campus multiple times. That's a start. But if that's any indication of his recruitment, I think, this next round of visits might help him, decide which schools he wants to visit in the fall, if he takes his recruitment that far. I also think we're seeing a trend with a lot of these top recruits that even when they do commit, and they are pretty solidly committed, they still take a couple visits in the fall just in case, because as we know, the coaching carousel is absolutely wild. Transfer portal is wild. So I think it's almost one of those things, better safe than sorry for some of these recruits. That to me is what it looks like could happen with Williams. I think, you'll see him take this next wave of visits. Maybe he makes a decision in the summer, maybe not. But I think you'll see end of the fall that there's probably 2 or 3 or maybe even 4 teams continuing, to push for him.
So heading into these all-important spring visit months, who do you think is the Ducks' biggest competition?
Yeah, I think you got to look at Texas. They're definitely a serious threat. You've got to look at Alabama. Some of those, just always in the game, right? It seems like we talk about the same group of schools all the time. Ohio State and Oregon and Texas and Alabama and Georgia are kind of always at the top of the chain. But that seems to be kind of continuing with Williams once again as well.
All right. Let's head to the state of Texas, and that's where we find top 100 wide receiver Marcus Harris. And over the weekend, he got a prediction to Texas. Now, my question to you is this just kind of the ebbs and flows of recruiting, or do you feel that Oregon's losing ground right now during the dead period?
Yeah, I could see Oregon losing a little bit of ground there because, quite frankly, they have 2 receivers committed already. They're trending for a couple others.
True.
Cooper Perry's one. They're in the game with a lot of these top. Corian Moore has visited Oregon multiple times already, committed to LSU. So, for me, the way I see it with Oregon recruiting, they do a really, really good job giving themselves a lot of options at any position group. And then that way, if, like a Marcus Harris commits to Texas or whatever, they're not left standing there empty-handed. So this certainly looks like something that could be trending Texas direction. Great player would be a great get for them. But Oregon, meanwhile, is in really good shape at the wide receiver position and recruiting wide receiver this cycle so far.
Yeah, going to have to get him back on campus, and hey, they just might do that. Now, let's move out to California and talk about 4-star linebacker Nasir Wyatt, the number 42nd ranked player overall, the number 4 linebacker. He's out of Modern Day High School, and he set some visits. March 5th to USC, March 9th to Ohio State, March 26th to Miami, April 6th to Tennessee. Oregon, though, trending in this recruitment at 97% on the recruiting prediction machine. Any concern over these scheduled trips?
At the moment, not necessarily. I think this was kind of the case, always expected to be the case. I will be very interested to see with Wyatt if this is kind of that last group of visits for him before he makes a decision. I think a lot of us, including myself, thought a decision could have been made by now. He's taking more visits, obviously, as we're talking about it. And you kind of wonder if this is the next wave of visits for him and maybe the end of his recruitment. Again, I know we talked about this with Jonah Williams earlier. I could see him making the commitment, then possibly taking a visit or 2 in the fall just to make sure that all his bases are covered, in case anything happens with, the school he commits to. But right now, I do think still headed into these visits, he's Oregon's to lose.
Yeah, Nasir Wyatt, I thought maybe a decision would come late February, early March. It seemed like that was the direction he was heading. But now I see April 6th on there, that visit to Tennessee. So now I got to think that window for a commitment is April 6th or beyond. So this thing goes another month or so longer than maybe we thought it would. Let's talk about when recruiting is going to start heating up in Eugene, though. When can we start to expect to see some more commitments? I mean, Duck fans are all over recruiting, but hey, Justin, we need some action.
Yeah, they don't like these dry spells, if you will. So, yeah, for Oregon's very unique in how they attack the spring calendar. Because of the quarter system, they will actually come and have just a couple of spring practices, 2 or 3, and then they'll take a break for a couple of weeks, and everybody will go on spring break, including all of the football team. And then they'll come back and finish their spring ball predominantly in the month of April with a spring game at the end of April. So, I guess to answer your question, they'll do some recruiting in that spring break, if you will, but I think they will use the month of April to really attack the recruiting trail for 2 reasons. First off, you will have spring practices almost every day in the month of April. You will have the spring game at the end of April, which they will circle and do their best to highlight. And then, lastly, you want those kids on campus to see them, while they're actually practicing and show them what it's like. And along with that, that gives you a chance to maybe be the last visit or closer to the last visit if you're Oregon, potentially with some of those later April visitors. So I know that's a whole month away, and there will be stuff that happens in March, but I have April circled as a very big month for recruiting.
All right, there you have it. And we know that Jonah Williams will be in town March 17th, so that'll probably be an exciting weekend. One last question, a little housekeeping here. On Scoop Duck, do you do your prediction Tuesday in the dead period, or do you take a break during the dead period on predictions?
It's a little harder to do in the dead period. I love, to do it. And that's usually when I predict guys to other schools, which I don't love to do a bunch of. So, kind of some filler, if you will. But yeah, we still get some up here and there during the dead period as well.
All right. Well, we're only dead for another week or so, and then it'll be back alive with the contact period starting in early March. Justin Hopkins with Scoop Duck, thanks for dropping by the Inside Scoop today.
Thanks, Josh.
Thank you for watching this video, and if you enjoyed that, go check out the hundreds of videos that we have on this channel, and also do me a favor, hit subscribe to the On3 Recruits channel.